We are headed towards government shutdown, and gold is having its best month since Miss You by the Rolling Stones was the #1 song on earth. What this all means for your money and what this means for your country. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of What's Moving Your Money with Forbes. I'm Spencer Hakimian, your host, and on today's episode we are going to be talking about what is almost inevitably going to be the government shutdown that we will be experiencing by midnight tonight, and what that does mean for your money, for your wallet, for your job, for economic data, so on and so forth. So sit back tight, we have a very busy episode ahead. So it's becoming increasingly clear that the United States is heading towards a government shutdown. Vice President J.D. Vance alluded to something similar himself. Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, even Trump has basically all hinted that for all intents and purposes, they are not going to reach a deal by midnight tonight, and the United States will be heading towards yet another government shutdown. I just want to say one thing. Because look, if you're my age, if you're in your mid-20s, honestly, even if you're in your mid-30s, anything that was, born before 1980, this amount of government dysfunction is not normal. This is atypical. Developed countries like the United States do not usually have this much amount of dysfunction, to the point that we cannot even agree on simple budgets to fund ourselves, right? We're not talking about policy differences. We're simply talking about funding what we've already agreed to fund as a country. So look, this is problematic. This keeps happening, right? I mean, I started investing a little bit over a decade ago. This is like the 6th or 7th government shutdown that I've experienced in my investing lifetime already. That's kind of crazy if you think about it. That's almost one per year at this point. Think about what's happening right now. We have a unified government under one party's control, and we're still experiencing this. Now, that's not to knock Republicans, because this has happened with Democrats in the past too. But we are so chaotic in our governance that even when we have singular party control in Washington, the basic plumbing of government cannot be done smoothly and efficiently. And what's the side effect of all of this? It's gold. Gold is going to the moon. Over time, foreigners, even Americans, are simply losing credibility in the United States as a beacon of stability and of a safe haven to go during uncertain times. It used to be that uncertain things happened around the world and people flocked to America because they could always count on good old reliable America to be stable and to calm the room down. Now it's the complete opposite. Problems are starting in Washington, and it's the rest of the world that is acting as the safe haven. It is the Europeans, it is German bonds, it is Japanese bonds, it is Australian bonds, it is those asset classes and those currencies, the Swiss franc, that are acting as the safe havens. It is not the dollar, and it is not bonds anymore. This, I've been saying this all year long, is the biggest seismic change. Listen, the S&P 500 will go up, it'll go down, tariffs will change, but credibility takes a lifetime to make and a moment to destroy. And I fear, as a country, and no individual is to blame for this, but as a country, we are destroying it, and it's going to be hard to rebuild. I also want to cover in a little bit more detail what's happening here with gold, because it is frankly a little crazy. Gold is on pace to be up 10% for the month of September of 2025. Years have gone by with gold not going up 10% in an entire year. Now we're doing that in a month, and it seems like we're doing it every single month. It doesn't seem like it's a simple occurrence. And look, it is very simple. The dollar is losing credibility as a safe haven. America is losing credibility as the singular reserve power and reserve global currency of the world. And as a result, alternative currencies have to be looked at. And the most neutral, the most historically reputable has been gold. So there has been a push into that asset class. And gold is a finite asset. And we are living in an infinite money world. We're living in an infinite fiat world. So it's a simple math equation. You have infinite money chasing finite assets. What happens? Those assets have to go up in price. Those dollar holders have to convert into gold and it will send everything up. That's been happening basically in a straight line since December of 2022. Gold was at around 1800 a few Christmases ago, and now it's close to 4,000. So it's more than doubled in just 3 years time. I want you guys to comment. Are you allocated to gold? Do you yourself own any gold? Do you think you're going to increase or decrease your allocation to gold? Let me know what you think in our comment section below. And finally, to wrap up today's episode, I want to talk about these very slight changes that might happen in the event of a government shutdown. As an example, we may temporarily not get BLS jobs data. We may temporarily not get inflation data. Luckily, we're living in a world of alternative data. ADP comes out with a private report every single month. There are 100 different ways to computate inflation. Honestly, in my opinion, more accurately than what the government's putting out, to just be honest with you, than relying on simply BLS data. But it's very worth stressing that since we are very likely going into a government shutdown at midnight tonight, we will not be receiving some of the data that we are used to. For all intents and purposes, we can understand what the job market is doing. We can understand what BLS is doing. But for those seismic things that move the bond market or the currency market or the stock market or the crypto market, whatever it may be, whatever your choice of flavor, that might be a little bit polluted, the data, for the time being until the government agrees to organize itself and get its act together and end this shutdown. It's gonna end. They always end. The longest one in basically modern history lasted about a month. And look, they do have short-term negative effects on GDP, but if these things are like a week long, 10 days long, they come, they go, in the grand scheme of things, it smooths out itself over time. But more importantly is the signal that we are sending to the world with constant government chaos and dysfunction. Guys, thank you for watching today's episode, and I can't wait to see you guys soon. Thank you.